Ahoy, Hugh from YOTSPACE, Superyacht Voyages here. We're very fortunate to be joined today by David Good, CEO of Superyachts Australia. Thanks for joining us today, David.
No problem at all.
So David, as CEO, what role does Superyacht Australia play within the Australian yachting industry?
Superyacht Australia has a number of functions. Primarily we're there to, as a destination marketing, to attract vessels to come cruise our waters and to use our tradesmen and our shipyards. Secondly is to lobby government, so we represent the superyacht industry to government to make them aware of how many jobs are in the industry and how important it is for the Australian economy. And thirdly is to support the domestic market, which is a growing market in Australia, to ensure that there's more domestic vessels available for charter and being refitted and maintained here in Australia.
Fantastic, and I'm sure you've been in the industry for a while, so what are some of the changes that you've seen over the last few years in the industry?
The last couple of years in particular have been crazy, the changes that we've seen. So we had the Special Recreational Vessel Act brought in at the end of 2019. We've been trying as an industry for about 20 years to get that over the line.
Yes.
And similar to the changes to the cruise industry that happened back in the late 90s and 2000s, before that there was only one cruise ship based here in Australia, which people remember the Fair Star. Now they changed the rules that vessels could operate here without being imported commercially, and you've seen the cruise space just grow to Australia's been the largest. And so we believe that the Special Recreational Vessel Act has done a similar thing for superyachts, that foreign flag superyachts can come here and they can charter commercially and be available for either Australian or foreign guests once COVID's over. And since then we've seen a huge growth.
So well, it's all positive news obviously for the industry here. So moving forward, where do you think the growth is mainly going to come from for the yachting industry?
From the cruise industry, I think. The top end of the cruise market, and it's a very large one, more than 1 million Australians normally go cruising a year. That top end of the market probably don't realise that they can afford to charter a superyacht. In fact, it's probably more economical. They have their own chef, they can choose their own itinerary, they can have their family and no one else if they choose to. So that market is something that I'd like to try and target. We think we need something to bridge the gap between them. I think YOTSPACE is one of those organisations that can bridge the gap.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope so. And as you're saying as well, we're seeing a lot more interest in the industry. Are you starting to see some of the owners of the superyachts bringing them back into Australia at the moment?
Absolutely, and to do so, if you're putting your vessel into the commercial charter market, then you don't have to pay GST. So it's 10% cheaper to bring your yacht into Australia and putting it into the charter market. And also all of your bills are paid for before tax because it is a commercial venture. So it's
certainly great benefit to that then. Do you think that that's what they'll look to do, put it into charter, or do you reckon they'll try and retain them for sole use?
Most of the ones that we've seen have been put into the charter market. It just makes economical sense. It subsidises the ongoing costs of the vessel. If it's a busy yacht, sometimes you can pretty much use your vessel for a month or two free of charge because the charters that you've done throughout the year have paid the running costs of the vessel.
Fantastic, that's great news. And with that in mind, what do you think the flow-on effect for the industry will be with this increased interest that we're seeing and also the extra yachts coming back to Australia?
It's fantastic that it's happening. There's some infrastructure coming online to support it, but I think one of the things that might hold us back is in-water berths. We're having comments from Western Australia saying, I would have bought a larger yacht if I had a bigger berth to park it in. On the east coast here, it's not as bad. There's places like here at Sanctuary Cove that just put in new berths. Southwood Yacht Club's putting in new larger berths. I know most of the marinas on the east coast are looking at it. But it needs to happen quickly because no one predicted how quickly we would grow in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. It does sound like it's come along very quickly as well. So, thanks for passing all that information on to us. Is there anything else that you would like to say in regards to the yachting industry or Superyachts Australia that you would like to share with everyone?
Well, I think it's just something we can be proud of. Vessels travel around the world, but they come here to Australia for the upkeep and the refit because the quality of our tradesmen are just fantastic. You walk around the show and you see some of the smaller yacht space, the Rivieras and the Maritimos, but you see the level of detail that are in that. Those young kids that are building the Rivieras and learning their trade, they are the master craftsmen of tomorrow that are working in the shipyards like Rivergate, Gold Coast City Marina, and boatworks. And so those large yachts are really comfortable coming to this part of the world because they know that they can get quality done here as good, if not better, than what's available in Europe and in the States.
Well, it sounds fantastic, David. Really appreciate you taking the time. Sounds like the industry is heading in the right direction, and we hope for big things in the future. So really appreciate you spending some time with us today. We look forward to catching up again soon.
My pleasure.
Thanks, David.